things do happen. You just got to take care of it.
Yep.
And if you don't, it's going to stink, right?
It's going to end up costing you so much more money in the long run because the customer you could have had because of that person could have recommended you to 2 other people. That turns into 2 jobs. Those 2 jobs turn into 4.
I go live on TikTok almost every day that I work because, for one, I work by myself at the shop I work for.
How long have you been tinting?
8 years.
8 years? What got
Yep.
you into here?
Like, once I started laying film, I was like, yo, this is fun.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Born to Tint podcast with Mo Buzz. Excited for another episode with my big brother, Josh.
How's it going, everybody? We have another episode that we recorded at Tinter Battles. This episode is with Shady J of the Dark Truth podcast. Check it out.
Yeah.
Like, what if something were to happen?
Oh,
You know what I mean? And I'm away from my kids and stuff like that, you know, my wife and all that. Like, say I land there and then I get stuck there or something were to happen, I'd be like kicking myself, like, damn it, dude, you don't fly. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And I've been offered multiple times, like, dude, I'll fly you out to come work for a week, or I'll come down, I'll pay you all this money. I'm like, it's not even worth it to me. I'd rather just do what I'm comfortable with that I can do here, the same kind of shit. You know what I mean?
No, that's actually something that, in my eyes, the fact that you stand for that and like you actually draw a line, like, no, I'm good.
Right.
Like I don't need to do that.
Yep.
Like I don't need to put myself in that uncomfortable position. A lot of people will do it
And then regret it.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not at all.
I've heard a couple people like go out of their comfort zone. They're like, man, I knew I shouldn't have done that shit. Like, why did I even do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like being regretful, honestly.
Good character trait. Very good character trait in my
The
eyes.
same. And I'd be honest. I'd rather be honest about it than lie to you and say like, oh, dude, I'd love to, and then just make up some bullshit excuse and be like, oh man, I can't. I got this job.
Like I said, it was literally after that, it was like, all right, we're going to find a way to make this happen.
Right.
We'll be at an event at some time. We'll make it happen. And when we do, that's my first question. Just because I'm going to bring it up. So,
And if you didn't, I was gonna say something about it. So
No, technically you beat me to the punch, so it was perfect. It was our minds were literally on the same. That was literally where my beginning point was going to be, and then just so happens like we waited a day to do this, which I'm very happy we did because we got to walk around, compete, soak in the environment. This is our first Tinter Battles. I know you've been to all of them, correct?
yes,
Okay, so allow us to experience it, and then we actually got blessed at the heat shrink battles.
Yeah.
You two went against each other.
Yep.
And the one thing I wish that you guys would have went before me is because, not to say this is why I lost, I knew what I was doing when I used the heat gun instead of a torch.
Right.
Like I was taking the calculated decision, like I know how fast I can go with the heat gun.
Yeah.
And I know I can do it without maybe torching the film. So I'm gonna take that route. Dude had a torch. It's like all I gotta do is hope I put enough pressure on him where he accidentally leaves it in one spot for too long. Singe. A win's a win.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Which in the second round he did get DQ'd for torching his film.
Yeah. See, that was the play I was going to. Now, it's a couple of the guys that use torches on the regular in the shop.
Right.
I'm going to get my ass dusted. And I probably would have ended up moving over to a torch if I would have even made it even further because it's like, all right, like, you got to risk it. He's got to go for it. But the fact that when there was only one community torch when it came down to it, you guys are both going to go torch. You guys have been, no, screw it. Like, let's do heat gun against heat gun. Like that was, loved it.
honestly, I kind of wanted to draw it out longer. Like, because if you use a torch, it's either you're going to get done quicker or you're going to burn it quick.
Yeah.
So it's like a heat gun, you're a little more, not like cautious, but you're a little more controlled and you know what it's doing a little more.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't so damn humid in there, I wouldn't have creased that shit.
I didn't even think about that.
Because I usually don't card when I pull shrink because it's got a little more tension to it, right?
Yeah.
And I was pull shrinking, it was going good on that top corner. And then my factory reset happened and I went to go card it and I went, oh, I was pull shrinking. And it was just, dude, it was this long. And I went, fuck. I actually yelled it, I think.
I heard it and just slowed down. I was like, I knew we were close.
Yeah.
And I heard that and was like, I kind of could feel that they were looking at it. So I was like, all right, slow down.
Yeah. Don't fuck it up.
Don't burn your shit.
Right.
And
then, like, the fact that we walked around at the same time, that shit was crazy.
That was really cool, actually. We both finished one half of the glass at the same time and switched to the other side of the car and passed each other.
Yeah, we literally, like, infinity signed, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
that was sick. That made it like, oh, cool. This is actually closer than I thought it was going to be. Like, I thought you were for sure going to just dust me.
The heat gun, the Porter cable, I don't know what's changed since I started training with it whenever I started tinting, but it is not as hot as I remember. And it might be because I've been using the Steinel and Wagner's and stuff like that. It blows a little more hot, you know, a little more air and stuff. But man,
I wouldn't even say though it's not so much. I mean, obviously the hotter is better. I mean, Torch has that, but also the air movement.
right?
And that's the one good thing about Fusion's heat gun. Have you ever used theirs before?
The Flux,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to.
It's if you ever can indulge and get one.
Doesn't it have like a wider tip?
It has a wider tip, and then also how much air you can adjust how much air it's blowing out by turning the fan on the side to open the vents or close the vents.
Wow.
And like my guys always have the vents closed. I'm not gonna argue with them because I don't install I still do auto every once in a while. When it needs help, I go in and I relieve. But at the same time, these guys are doing it every day, and it's like you guys are getting the job done, you're crushing it. Like I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Like,
Right.
It's working for you. There's nothing there that I need to give my opinion on that's going to help or improve besides the fact that you're not doing it the way I think you should, which in my eyes, who cares? Like, as long as the job gets done the way it's supposed to get done, I don't care how you install.
Right.
No one installs the same way. I mean, if you literally watched me shrink and then the next one, I think it was one right after Josh went, you guys went like right after, and there's one thing Carlos was pointing out, like the complete difference in how I set my window and how he set his window. We are complete opposite installers. Even when it comes to flat glass, like we still don't even follow the same things with flat glass, and we were trained by the same person.
Right.
Everyone has their own flair or sense of how they're going to get something done after they learn it, and I mean it's really up to them how they're going to do it with what they're going to take in from everybody.
Right.
Coming to events like this.
That's what I was gonna say.
I will single-handedly probably point out the biggest leap in my installation part of my career was probably when 2012 when I went to go compete at WCT for the first time.
Damn, 2012.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you old. I forgot.
No,
I'm just joking.
I was trying to go and be the youngest person to ever win it. Like I was cocky. I was stupidly cocky.
Right.
I went into that like I was gonna destroy people. I mean, I'm really confident in my auto. Like
That delusional truth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh,
yeah. Like this doesn't make sense, but it's true. I swear.
yeah. Oh no. Yeah. I'm just gonna. It's just gonna get done. No, it was like that was at the time. That's all I was doing was auto. Is like, and I still consider myself a real good auto tinner.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, I haven't done anything in my eyes competition wise. So in my eyes, I look at myself like I've done nothing. Like it just like I've been chasing the auto title since 2012. Now like I skipped a couple years, got married, a couple weddings, COVID, kind of screwed that up a little bit, and then So like I'm always chasing auto. I never get there. But what I've picked up from going to those competitions, auto is first time I saw someone drop a window in. Besides, like I knew like one or two people in Nevada that were doing it, and it was like I saw Chris Brooks install.
You're talking about bottom loading.
Bottom loading.
Without pulling the sweeps.
Well, yeah, and using an easy reach.
Yeah.
Instead of like people bust out the big ass paddles, which I've got nothing against how anyone does any sort of window.
Right, but it was just you were like that seems like it'd be harder.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm very big on being a minimalist. I want to use as little as possible, do as little as possible, and make that the cleanest window as possible.
Yeah.
Like that's one thing I try to pride my installation on is what can I strip away to make myself faster without hurting my quality of install. Because that's how just being an install. That's how you make your money. Like you got to be fast, but
They're like
not come back.
shortcuts, but they're not shortcuts. You know what I mean? They're more efficiency in a sense. Instead of it being a shortcut, it's an efficiency like path. You're like, I'm gonna go this way. Least resistance, I'm going that way.
Yeah, like little stuff even like finish shrinking the top and bottom of a back window or a windshield before you change sides.
Yep.
Because like, why are you gonna take 2 trips back and forth with the car?
Or even cutting,
Yeah.
like with the light, because I've got like the noodle light, the tent light.
Yeah.
And I'll set it up to where I put it in the middle to where it'll shine the whole window. Because used to I'd have to I'd put it up here at the top, cut it, move it to the bottom, cut it, go around, cut the bottom, move it back up. So I've tried to put a white sheet or something, or just have something back there that makes it all lit up to where I don't have to do all that. So it makes it like 30 seconds faster. Yeah. But those 30 seconds are pretty crucial sometimes.
Times that by how many cars you're doing, by how many times you tint in a year, or how many days you tint in a year, that time adds up.
Right.
It absolutely adds up. Like
Right.
that's when I am training someone, which when I say it, I always get kind of blowback for him because it does sound just complete asinine and ass backwards. I tell every person, do what I say, don't do what I'm doing. Like I've got 2 decades to where I've gotten like I'm doing this and
Yeah.
I'm skipping the step. I just told you can't skip that step.
Yeah, because you haven't got there yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. And I did a shitty job of portraying that to our guys when we first started, when we started bringing the younger guys in and started training them.
Yeah.
It's like I'd kind of tell them, but like when I noticed them doing it, I probably should have stepped up and said something. We've gotten much better and we've
Right.
refined that training. But that's the big thing. It's like you have to let them realize like, hey, I have the natural motion to do this because I've been doing this repetitively for decades now.
Yeah.
You will get there, but you need to master this step first. In
Yeah.
order to get to this peak, you got to slowly take those steps
Yeah.
one by one.
I have an example of that. Like I go live on TikTok almost every day that I work because for one, I work by myself at the shop I work for. And for two, I've actually built like a pretty dope little community on TikTok. I call them my shaders just because it's funny. And this one dude was like, dude, you need to call them slim shaders. And I'm like, no, dude. I was like, I'm not slim anymore. I'm getting fat, you know? But like somebody will just come in there and go, what advice can you give to a new tinner? And I go, Jesus Christ, like, what am I supposed to say here? Like, there's so many things that you have to tell a beginner. And I'm like, first off, don't give up. Like, that's what I always say. Or I go, get hired at a shop. Just go get hired somewhere as an apprentice, as a prep guy, fucking sweep the floors, whatever. And then just watch people.
Yep.
Just watch them, see what they do, ask them why they do it. Most people won't tell you if you're like not a tinner. You know, if you're just like the shop, you know, chump or whatever.
Well, in their eyes, like I'm not going to tell you because then you're going to replace me.
Right, exactly.
Instead of going, I'm going to tell you because I want to get you with me.
Right.
And then
It's
now you're
all
going to
about
make me
who the-
efficient.
Yeah, it's all about what the mindset of everybody on the team is.
Yeah, but I think it also is market dependent. Like
Right.
actually talking to people over here, I got to remind myself that there's all kinds of different size markets.
Right.
And there are some smaller
Like me.
smaller cities that are saturated, and there is a real fear there of like there's already
Yeah, that's
people
true.
around the corner that I
Yeah.
helped train. Like so I feel like it's a totally different situation.
It's all nothing's black and white. It's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
shades of gray, and you got to like pick and choose when you give that crucial advice to somebody. If it's somebody that's just starting out, you don't want to tell them something about like shrinking with a torch. It's like, here, man, grab a torch and go at it.
Well, and even warn them and make sure you're letting them know, like, hey, just because you see something on
It ain't gonna fucking work.
YouTube
Yeah.
or Instagram, like somebody that has 20 years experience using a torch.
Yeah.
Actually, we just saw this recently on a laminated window.
Oh,
And
fuck.
then one of our guys decides to use one on a windshield and like.
Oh, that's a bad idea. Busted.
Oh.
Or did it do
On
the
an
little spider
international RV.
Oh, wow.
A big ass RV.
big,
Well, no,
like-
it was thankfully like a diesel cab front end, but still big RV.
Yeah.
And the windshield itself, thankfully, wasn't one of those monsters. It wasn't a 5 foot by like 8 foot wide. Thank
Yeah.
God it wasn't.
Right.
But it's still at the same time, like as they came in and told me, thankfully, like we've gotten really lucky. We have amazing customers, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, when shit goes wrong, it happens to the customers I wish it wouldn't to, only because they're such amazing
Yeah.
customers. But I get
That's
lucky
the
in the
worst.
fact that like I can have a simple conversation, explaining to them. They're like, "You guys are good. Like,
Yeah.
I know you're gonna take care of it. You've been doing my cars for the past couple of years. Like,
But you al-
don't worry
but
about it. Shit
you also,
happens." I'm
like,
like,
yeah.
"Thank you for taking that stress off me. You have no idea. Like, I feel like shit. I have to tell you this, but thank you for understanding in the fact like."
Right.
My guy didn't want to break that window. I didn't want to break that window. Ended up being, I think it was like $1,500. Where it's just one of those things where it's like, I got the price and they're telling me like, it's going to cost this much. I'm like, order it, like do
Right.
it, like.
Do you have them try to figure out the solution before you address the customer?
I will usually already get the ball rolling of
Right.
what needs to be done. Like
Yeah.
I'll tell them like when I go to approach
Same
them, like
way.
I've already like my glass guy is I've already called him. I've got a price. He's going to be reaching. And I'll tell him like it's either I can
Get it tomorrow.
Yeah,
yeah.
and well, I'll tell him like he's gonna bring it to me. I'm gonna install the tin on it, and then he'll bring it to you, and he'll install it at your place.
Right.
You don't got to come back down to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste your time. If I can take the customer's time out of the equation, because that's the biggest thing. That's where I feel horrible. And I never like damaging anything of anybody's, but you already took the time to come down to my shop because you trust us that we're gonna do the work correctly. And now, unfortunately, because of unforeseen circumstances and just like you were the small percentage where something's always going to go wrong, and I'm sorry, it happened on your car. But now I have to ask you, now you got to take another 2 hours out of your day to drive your car back down to me to replace this window that we screwed
then
up.
you already feel bad, and then you're like, now I'm doubling down on feeling bad because I'm the same way. Like I burnt the shit out of this dude's door panel on the inside because I tried to like heat a little finger, and it was like a 2008 like Accord or something or Acura, and it was like brittle and old, and it just lit up. And I was like, oh, great. So called the owner of the shop, and I was like, hey, man, you got an upholstery guy? Let's see if we can get a price on fixing it. I'm going to price a door panel, all this kind of shit. And got the prices or whatever, went out to the dude. Like, this took like 20 minutes to get the price, and he was in the lobby. I was finishing up the tent job, and I said, hey, man, just want to let you know I burnt your door panel. I've already got the price to fix it. I'm going to take care of it. Just, I'll pick it up from you if you want. He goes, oh, no, man, no. This man's an old vehicle. He's like, I ain't worried about it. He goes, but I do have he said, you can fix it. That's fine. He's like, and I also have my seats ripped right here. See how much that costs to fix it. And I said, I'll take care of that too. I'll cover that cost. It was like $75 to fix both. And then when they brought it back and showed it to us, and we showed the customer, he looked at it and he goes, man, it looks brand new. He's like, I really appreciate you having like he literally said, I appreciate you having a solution and telling me instead of being like, I fucked up your shit. And I was like, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
No, that's like,
That's how you build those relationships with customers. They're going to tell the next guy.
Yep.
And he actually came back for another vehicle after that. And he goes, you remember that you burnt my stuff? I was like, yep, I remember you. I'll never forget you, dog. Like, I will never forget you.
9 times out of 10, those customers are repeat customers.
And then they'll send work your way. They'll be like, dude, even if they fuck your car up, they're going to fix it. And it's like, they're not going to fuck it up. But if they do, and sometimes that deters customers. But it's like, shit happens, you got to wipe, right?
Yeah.
yep.
That's something I say all the time. That's something I say all the time. Shit happens, you gotta wipe. And then my buddy Wesley, he says, what does he say? He says, born to shit, forced to wipe. And I'm like, yeah, that's such a good one too. But yeah, that's literally what it is. Like, things do happen, you just gotta take care of it.
Yep.
And if you don't, it's gonna stink, right? It's gonna stink, dude, over time.
It's going to end up costing you so much more money in the long run because the customer you could have had because of that person could have recommended you to 2 other people. That turns into 2 jobs. Those 2 jobs turn into 4, and that just multiplies. I mean, we had a Nissan GTR where my guys were doing the whole thing. They were doing the windshield. They noticed something in the windshield, and they cleaned it out. What they forgot to do is put the soak rope back in, cover the dude's dash. Fried the module.
Oh God.
$2,500 later.
Was it Ram?
No, GTR.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. So, but again,
was
like
pretty
thankfully,
expensive.
we have the most amazing customers in the world.
Right.
Call and talk to the dude. Thankfully, his car still worked with the key. It's just the remote and all that stuff wouldn't work. Which it was just like, all right, at least we don't have to get him a rental car. Got the part ordered. It was like, hey, it's on back order, but we don't need a rental because his car still works. Guy was cool. Took care of it. Instantly, guy was like, thank you, I appreciate it. And like, it was like, I mean, his ticket by itself was a pretty sizable ticket. As soon as it got taken care of, booked his wife's car.
Nice.
And it's like, all right, like that's
how it goes.
I've kept your trust, and now I've gotten a second job for you, and now that pretty much got me to the point where like, all right, we're even now. That's cool.
Yeah.
Like we're pretty much that much closer to even, but at the same time, I didn't lose your trust, which is that much more important to me because you will bring me back another car because you will go through your cars, or you're gonna tell your friends, hey, take it here. They did a great job. They screwed up, but they stood behind what they were doing and they took care of me.
Yep.
And that's what people want to hear.
As long as you hold yourself accountable to customers, they always want to trust you. Yep. Even if it's not your fault and you claim it as your fault. Like I've seen some like back glasses that had a huge scratch in it or something, right? And I'll say, oh yeah, I'll replace it for you. Like I'll just replace the back glass then if you think I scratched it. Or this one lady, I dinged her door on the side of the wall because I was parked a little too close. And told her, I was like, I'll just pay for it. It was like $800 on a 23 4Runner at the time. It was brand new. And I didn't even think I had done it because I don't remember doing it.
I gotta go compete.
All right, yeah.
Dude,
So hold on,
hey.
we're gonna interrupt real quick. Josh is actually taking
go, bro.
off because he
Go get
made
that
it
win, baby.
past the second. He made it past the second round, and now he's going into
Get that
the
dub, bro.
into the finals of the heat shrink. Which the funniest part about that, the one thing that he does least amount of
It's cars, yeah.
doesn't touch cars.
Right.
Goes nowhere near them.
That's so funny.
And like, I mean, knows how to do cars. It's like, grew up same thing doing cars.
What is it?
Good? All right. Grew up doing cars. Knows how to do it. Crushes. When it comes down to it, really good auto installer. But like for the past 4 years now, because of like, thankfully we've been blessed to be able to grow our company.
Right.
He runs the flat glass division now.
That's awesome.
And the fact that he made it past farther than me, I'm not gonna hear that. I'm not gonna.
Oh, dude, he's gonna dog you for forever.
Oh, he's gonna make sure he gets back to the shop.
Oh yeah.
The shop's gonna bust.
He's
mine.
gonna have the footage, and he's gonna have it in the break room or in the lobby. Like, look at this. Look.
Oh no, I'm definitely.
That's so
I'm not
funny.
gonna hear the end of it. But at the same time, I torture his ass too.
Right.
You know.
I mean, that's brothers, right?
Yeah.
And how old are y'all apart? Or how many years apart are y'all?
About 5.
5?
5.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, I've got a brother, and he's, I think 7. I don't even remember. I think it's 7 years younger than me. And we're not even close to as tight knit as y'all are. And like to see y'all be in business together, how is that? Is it like y'all have your days, and but it's usually pretty good, or?
Oh no, it's been a road. I mean, it's good. It's good now, and we've definitely had spots where, unfortunately, I could say we've had a couple spots where like we went like 3 months. Like I wouldn't say we weren't talking, but it
just,
was
like,
we
we're
were at
around each other,
we're
we're
at
being
business where
cordial.
we're
Yeah.
exactly. Like thankfully we both are able to disconnect what we have going on between each other for the most part. He's probably a little bit better than I am at it. I might be a little bit more
You
emotional
get
with him.
spiteful? Yeah.
Oh, I almost get looked at like almost like I ride him too hard or anything like that when it
Yeah.
comes down to it. But it's only because I know what he can do,
Right.
And I know how he can get stuff done. It's
Right.
like I know how you operate. I know how efficient you can be. I know how fast you can tint. I know all these things. So when I see something slipping, it's like I am riding you, but I know how good you are when it
Right.
comes down to it. Like when it comes to installing, when I grew up, like, yes, my dad taught me, but at the same time, I was blessed in the fact that, yes, my older brother was tinting
Yeah.
to where he wasn't probably intentionally teaching me a tint, but like I was following him around the shop.
Yeah.
Like the whole, get a job as an apprentice, watch,
Yeah.
be curious.
Yeah.
Like if you see someone do something, be curious about it.
Right.
Ask. I finally kind of started doing that with him.
Yeah.
Like when we were younger, we really weren't
So you're
close at all.
younger than Josh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's we weren't necessarily in my eyes. I wouldn't say we were like super close when we were younger. Like I say we started getting close when I was about 12, 13 years old.
Good.
I got to the point where I started lifting, was really like I was starting to wanted to further myself in sports.
Right.
I would go join him and his buddy at the gym. And that's where I think me and him got really close and tight. And then we also started working obviously together full time.
Yeah.
And that's where we got really close and tight. And then he went off for about 6 years, did the military thing. And that was because he couldn't work with my dad.
Really?
Oh, they're
It is what it is.
carbon copies of each other.
Oh yeah, you can't.
And I
You
can't wait for
dude.
him to hear that because
Y'all do this. They just do this right here.
He-
Oh, I'm right. You're right. I'm right. I'm right.
he always compares me. He always says I'm being my dad, and I'm like, dude, like me, my sister, and my mom will all agree on the same thing in the fact that he is so much like my dad. He can be very stubborn at times.
Yeah.
But he will back down eventually when all of a sudden all the facts do come in or anything like that, and then you have a
He needs
conversation.
the evidence. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Me
mean,
too.
we'll argue with. We'll not say even argue. We'll be talking about a subject.
Yeah. Discuss it and shit.
And we'll get like 10 to 15 minutes in, and it's like we're almost like completely arguing with each other. By the time we get done, it's like we were agreed with each other the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just how either I presented the information to him
yeah.
was horrible. I didn't do a good job of presenting my information.
Emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I let it get too much. Or it's like for him, I'll point out the same thing to him. Like he'll be saying something to me. I'm like, or we'll be talking in a situation where he's talking with somebody else within the company or anything like that. I'm like, well, what'd you say? What'd you do? And he'll tell me. I'm like, yeah, no, that's
not how you do
it. It didn't. I understand what your intentions were, what you're
Right.
trying to portray.
Yep.
It didn't come out that way at all.
Yep. And see, I'm the same way. So like, I'm a pretty emotional person. Like I basically live my whole life based on my mood. And so like, if I'm trying to get a point across, it's not going to be very nice. Usually, it's usually like, and honestly, it's funny that you say he's like his dad. I'm like my dad in that sense, and I don't fuck with my dad at all. But like, I can see those attributes in the like with the kids, man. Like if the kids are doing something stupid over and over and over, I'm like, all right, look, tighten up. Like,
Yep.
what are you doing?
Yep.
Like, why are you doing this? It's either you do this or you get this consequence. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I'm just telling you how it is. I'm not trying to be mean to you. I'm just telling you, if you keep acting this way, this is going to happen.
Yep.
And they're like, what? And I'm like, yes. And then they get all sad, and I'm like, look, I'm not trying to upset you. That wasn't my intention. But you need to understand where I'm coming from. And that's hard for a fucking 9 and 6-year-old, you know?
Did you have the same kind of experience where, for me, I have a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
and it's hilarious to look at how things are going right now, and it's like all the shit that my parents told me while growing up Like, don't do this, don't do that. Learn from this, learn from that. And it's like, you don't, like, that all makes. All right, hold on. Josh,
That was
coming back.
fast.
Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
What happened?
I was going against a torch, and I started with a heat gun, but they finally got me a torch. And I actually was catching up, sounded like, but I top corner fucking.
Oh, which one?
Actually,
Driver?
it was, yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
Well, so they gave you a torch mid?
Like, yeah, probably.
So they're like, they felt
30.
bad. They're like,
No,
hey,
no,
he said torch me.
I sent Cody to go find me one because they didn't have one sitting there. And it started, so I just started with a heat gun and then came, and Dean was like, you want the torch still? I was like, yeah.
Give me that
I don't
one,
have a
fuck.
chance unless. I mean, I could have just sat it out.
Who's
and-
your opponent?
Sean G.
Oh, you're fucked.
Yeah. So it was like,
I would have been like, I'll take the loss. See ya.
That's why I was like, just if I can get a torch, get me a torch, and
Right.
let's see if I get lucky.
God, he's
But
gotten
I
so
got the
good with
bottom
that thing.
pretty
Yes.
good, man. So
Sean's got
he was
fucking
moving
good with that thing, dude.
He was a quarter of the window, almost a quarter of the window ahead of me, but I was catching up big time. There's
yeah,
there's
dude.
such a big difference, man.
Yeah.
If you get skilled with a torch, you're gonna dust somebody with a heat
Oh,
gun.
for sure.
Every time.
That reminds me, backtrack a little bit. The whole, when training, taking the steps, you're saying don't teach someone with a torch to begin with.
Right.
I am now becoming more of the mindset though, because when we first started teaching people how to tint, was like I always taught 2-stage first.
Yeah.
Take the top, because in my eyes, if you know how to 2-stage,
You can bottom load.
you can do well. You can
Because you know your placement.
Worst case scenario, if you can't bottom load, you can
can
always
get a window
you
done.
can
Always
always do
two-stage.
two-stage.
if you master 2-stage, you will get it done. Or when it comes down to it, shrinking on the mirror, do you snap shrink or do you shrink on the car?
90% of the time, I don't shrink whatsoever.
I'm the same way.
Love
at
it.
all. No, literally.
Love it.
Never.
I
do
love
the old.
stretch,
I do the
stretch.
old school
Stretch to the
fucking
corners.
grab these and go like this as hard as you can.
It works on those windows.
dude. Because Autobahn's so aggressive with the adhesive that I can not shrink like a Honda Accord
Really?
and shove it to the corners. Wait a couple seconds if a finger pops up, and you can just push it down and hold it, and it's gonna stay. It reminds me of PPF in that sense, like to where you can just hold it and it'll tack.
The
It's
glue will
that, dude, it's that aggressive. Where you just bust the outside with a torch, swipe it, gone.
Now that is when coming up. That was I avoided shrinking because I didn't want to take the process of putting it on the car and
Takes a
shrinking
lot
it.
of time.
That
Yeah.
was like I said. I loved cutting
Efficiency.
I loved
Yep.
cutting steps out. Now
But
now
with
I'm
that, you also get the possibility of like sucking in dirt if you're not bottom loading, or
Agreed.
if you don't prep properly.
Yep.
And so you know what your risk is, and you're
Yep.
like, I'm still gonna send it.
Yeah, oh,
'Cause
absolutely.
It's $1 worth of film. I'll rip it off and do another one.
no, absolutely.
And
It's,
then I'm shrinking that one. Like, I'm gonna shrink it after that.
yeah, no, you fail once, then it's like, all right, I'm gonna throw a little shrink on it.
Yep.
But no, stretching it into place, like that is what that's one thing I try to hammer home with my guys, and I actually probably need to do a better job to begin with. That's one of those steps, like that one you can't skip, and you have to hammer home is squeegee properly.
Yep.
And with the correct tension. Like there are plenty of windows that you
Yes.
don't need to snap. You don't need to snap shrink. Now, I will do it now, pretty much almost every window, and I'll do like the bottom quarter inch or half inch, and I'll just throw enough on there just to snap it in and leave it at that.
Yep.
But it took me a while because we were having guys that were like just tugging and then shrinking and just shrinking like the bottom
Oh,
2 or
man,
3
it's all
inches
like-
and put that. Yep.
It looks like a big ass smile, and you're like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then it has those little fingers underneath it, and you're like, now you got to lay those down. Now it's overshrunk.
Yep.
Now you got to deal with it snapping back when you put it on.
Yep.
Then it's not a finger; it's the fucking whole bottom of the window.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So, do you bottom load or do you 2-stage?
Both. I'm a hybrid loader.
Oh, that's perfect. Well, that's
So what I do
you're
is
well rounded. That's
Right.
that's the way to go.
I literally have every tool in my toolbox. Like it's like I'll do anything that any of these people do out here.
That
Just
you know
to
what?
do it.
We finally just answered the question. 2-stage or bottom load?
Both.
Both. Yeah.
Hybrid,
Be that skilled. Don't be stubborn and have your ego in the way because you're good at one.
That's always what
Learn
it
how to
is.
do both because at some point having that other one in your back pocket, like the way I shrunk today. I shrunk 3 times and all 3 times I did something different
Right.
because it was like, all right, let's try a different
I gotta
approach.
up it,
Like
yeah.
Yeah, and like that's because I've seen so many different ways to
Right.
shrink a window over the years and I played around
And
with it.
even today.
And I can combine different, like even what Ricky did. Everybody
Pocket
was like, I've
shrink.
never seen that, but pocket shrinking dry even like
It's fast.
yeah, it's really fast.
Super fast.
Yeah, so it's like I think the reason that we've gotten good at it at our shop is just crystalline. Like you've had it. That was when we first
Dude,
started.
if y'all were using that back then, you can tint with any film, dude.
Well, that's what first
stopped.
introduced us to like because you have to do it with
You
that.
have to.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Well, you
No,
can
you don't.
you can get away with not doing.
I
it.
can
you
get away with.
snap shrink it?
No, I can get away with with a traditional shrink.
But it's easier to train
Oh, wait.
someone to do that.
1,000%.
1,000%.
And you're less likely to damage it.
Well, when I found out you could actually shrink that shit to the sides, like
What?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Didn't know
that's
that.
a game changer on the
I
Teslas.
think
It
Mike-
totally
I
changes
think
the
Mike said something.
no,
about
you
that.
don't do it on big windows. The big Tesla windows, when you do that, it ends up creating bad tension because if you don't squeegee the proper way, it screws you.
No, I mean like on a 3.
yeah, that's a big back window. I'm
yeah.
talking about that. We don't do that.
No, not the back window. I'm talking about the windshield.
Windshield, yes.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. You
So-
go sideways on that windshield a little bit, it makes that top a little less rough.
Huh.
You can take the little bit of, you know how the finger starts getting a little aggressive on a hard
Man,
window?
I haven't really
Pull-
used 3M that much.
Yeah.
I've seen people like shrink it that way, like pocket shrink with tape and shit and all that kind of stuff.
Tape's not it's water.
It's good for beginners to make sure you're systematic about it.
Right.
That's fine, but you can still do the exact same pattern. You split the middle instead of making it all the way to the edge, about an inch off the window, depending what kind of windshield it is. And it's only a little bit on the sides, about an inch. Instead of going into the side, you stop about an inch or two out, and then you go up to the corner,
Yeah.
to where you create that little pocket on the side, and then you just pocket shrink that out. That little bit relieves the top so much to where you can just go straight through
Right.
the top, and it makes it so much easier. Like I had no clue.
I've never heard of that.
Well, who did we learn it from? Pedro?
No, Colorado. Oh damn, I don't remember. He worked for Interwest. I'm drawing a blank. I know he doesn't work there anymore. But we sent our guys when we switched over to being a 3M Pro shop. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. It was for in my eyes, it's because of the training.
Right.
They had training available, and like that's one thing that we've come to learn. Like now taking over the company and running it is like we never really invested in ourselves. Like
Or
we,
our people?
And that's
Or
the
our
biggest
people.
thing. That's the biggest shit.
that's
with
grown
the
our
owners,
company so
yeah.
much is like I try to at least send every single one of my guys to something. Like last year, me and my auto manager, we went to a leadership conference because I
Nice.
need him to grow as a manager.
Right.
I need to keep growing as the leader of the company. So we went to
Right.
that, and it's like coming to Tinter battles for us right now.
Right.
Networking, seeing the installation techniques, stuff like that. Now I get to go back and share all this stuff with the guys, especially some of the tools. So some of the tools that I've actually got today. The True Spray, the active backpack.
Yeah.
That thing is active, not backpack.
True active,
Yeah, it's not a backpack.
Not a backpack.
not a backpack.
What was it? What was it? Active.
It's the true active.
It's the True Active. I'm going with that because the other one's way too long and I don't remember it. Unfortunately, it's not. My memory is shit.
It's utilitarian, airless.
Exactly.
Something.
True. It's the True Active. It goes with the
True
true.
Active.
It goes with the True Spray system.
It's dope though. Like
It's-
getting to play around with it, for ladder work and
Oh
for
yes,
small.
dude.
I
I have a
can't
tent
wait.
buster. Okay, so I have a tent buster. I like both of them.
Yeah.
I love both companies. I love everybody
Yeah.
in
Yep.
both of them. I don't have like a preference. I just got it. It was sent to me,
Yeah.
and I didn't buy it. Ely was like, "Yo, I'm gonna send you a tent buster." Well, he didn't say that. He goes, "Hey,
There's something coming."
Have you checked your PO box?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, I sent you something." And he said it was like 5 days after he sent it, or like that it arrived, and it was at the shop address. Because people send it to the shop, it goes to a PO box. I don't ever check it. So like, he goes, "Hey, you need to go check the PO box." I said, "For what?" He goes, "I'm not telling you." And I went, "Fuck, I already know what it is." And I
Yeah.
picked up the box and I went, "No fucking way."
That's sick,
And
man.
ladder work, oh my god, dude,
Game
it's such
changer.
a dude. Yes, and I wear the chest pouch, so like having all my tools right here and then having the sprayer, I hang it on my chest pouch. It's so much easier than like keeping the hose, hopefully not dropping it, or getting a spray bottle, hoping the damn bottle doesn't fall off, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Customers see it and they're like, "Dude, what is that thing?" And I'm like, "This is my my spray thing," you know. And I show them and they're like, "That's pretty cool."
Oh yeah, no, it's for those type situations, scaffolding, ladders, anything like that, game changer.
Yeah, it's so easy.
And even if it comes to it's like getting into a window where you have to walk behind something and get somewhere, now I don't have to carry my tank all the way in to get my hose all the way
Yep.
out. I can just walk in,
Yep.
pot it back, and then the other thing I'm looking forward to using it
Small
for
jobs.
is
Just saying.
PPF.
That too.
It's insulated.
Yep.
So I'm gonna dump my hot water and then
Hell
put it in
yeah.
there, and
It's gonna stay hot.
Hot water is gonna stay on
Yep.
my back, and that's where that's gonna be. Like
So cool.
I can't wait to use it for a PPF.
See, I don't do PPF, so I wouldn't know.
Do you ever have thoughts of getting into PPF?
So I did PPF my hood on my truck, my '89 GMC, with some Autobahn black PPF that we got a sample of, and it looks decent. but there's like some lift marks, and then I got bubbles because you can't see the water underneath it, right? And I was just kind of freeballing. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just slapped it on there on TikTok Live, and I'm like, hey, let's PPF my hood today. People are like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, it sucks. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. I let it sit there for like 4 hours and then trimmed it all. It looks like crap, but
I've got a certificate from 3M with Expel as the distributor who sent the person to come train us.
Yeah.
When I got trained to do PPF in 2004. And I'm the same as you. Like, it never stuck. I was always just like, it takes me too long. I'd much rather just tint windows.
I'd rather tint 5 cars in the amount of time.
I regret it now, like being a quality, like seasoned PPF installer right now, you can crush it, right? But it's just like at the time, it was like,
in the
man,
beginning,
I got time
the,
for this.
yeah, the overhead going into it, how much it costs to actually try and get be crappy at it.
Yeah.
It's way more than tint, right?
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
you could waste a roll of tint and it's nothing. You waste a roll of PPF and you're down like, I don't even know how much it costs. So
Typical PPFs, you're going to be anywhere from about $5 upwards to $5.50, $6 for just regular clear. And that's either Solar Guard, 3M, any of those in that price range. So technically, if you really look at it, it's one of the most expensive films that you're going to carry. Even with like we do flat glass, even with all of our flat glass films, that's more expensive than some of our highest end flat glass films.
Right.
When it comes down to it. So yeah, you trash your hood.
dude,
It's
you're fucking mad, dude.
It stings a bit. It absolutely does sting a
I
bit.
gotta sell 5 tent jobs today just to cover it, you know?
Yep. No, but the profitability of it and what
Is crazy good.
Yeah.
we just did the week before we left. I got my hands on it for 2 days, and then my PPF guy, polished it off Wednesday and Thursday. Was a Model S. He had us PPF the entire thing, and then tint the entire thing.
Nice.
It was ended up being like $9,700.
Yeah.
Growing up in this industry,
It sounds insane to me.
I've never
right?
But it's happening all the time. I'm like,
mind blowing.
Because when you find it and you're good at it, and then they find you,
Yeah.
and you could sell it,
Yeah.
it's easy.
they want to know for sure I'm going to go here. It's going to get done right.
Yep.
And I don't have time to be dealing with somebody who's a cheaper price down the road. Like,
And see, that's how it is with me. Like, I'm in a small town, like you were saying earlier about small towns. We have like 5,500 people, and we're the only tent shop. But then there's one like up the road on the highway towards a bigger city that kind of gets some of the business. They're an Expel dealer, but they usually like turn away anything older than 2000. They'll call me and be like, "Hey, man," or they'll just send them my way. Somebody showed up one day with they messaged me about a 1990 CRV, and I was like, "Oh fuck."
Oh no.
I was like, great, I get to do one of these. I'm gonna be like, it's $500 to do this in dyed film because I hate doing those.
Oh yeah, no. We'll do the same thing. Like I'm not gonna turn a car away, but I'm gonna charge.
it's got to be worth
Right.
the time. If it's
I
going to take
always
more
do
time.
that.
Yeah.
Like I even tell the owners sometimes because the owner's wife, well, she's an owner as well. Ashley, the owner, she will book something that's kind of difficult with the normal price, and I'll call her and be like, hey, we got to charge more for this. She's like, well, just honor it this one time. And I'm like, fine. I mean, I have to, but
Yeah.
I'm like, this needs to be $400, not $350 or $300 or whatever, because I don't charge a lot more for harder stuff. Like if it's not too bad, like older stuff, like 95 Fords is what I get a lot. C10s, you know, they call me the C10 guy because I use the glue trick and it looks real good and people love how it looks. And so I do a lot of those, but I don't necessarily love doing them.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool knowing that like they're coming to my shop every
No,
time.
that's awesome. No. Question. Now it just kind of how long have you been tinting?
8 years.
8 years? What got
Yep.
you into tinting?
I was on probation and my wife was pregnant, and we had just met like a month before this, and I had to find a job, and I looked up on Indeed or what was it, Craigslist. I found a window cleaning job, and I was like, oh, that sounds easy.
Yeah.
I could do that all day. And it was for a window tinting place. Knew nothing about it. I knew nothing. Didn't even get it on my cars or nothing. Didn't have any clue about it. And I go in there, just so happened the owner was like best friends with my dad growing up.
Yeah.
And he automatically was like, yo, I'm gonna hire him. But I was like, hey, I'm on felony probation for 3 years. I was like, I'll be the best worker you've ever had here.
Yeah.
Because I had a kid on the way, and I was like, there's nothing else I can do. I prepped for 3 years before he let me lay film. He was an old school famine mentality, not gonna teach you shit. Even if you ask questions, he wasn't gonna tell you shit. And I was just like, all right, I got a job still. I'm not getting to. I wasn't like really interested in tinting until I laid film, and I was like, yo, I could be good at this. Like this is pretty fun. Like it's frustrating, but I like a challenge because I did sports growing up. So like I was never like the fastest, strongest, but I had like a good strategy every time. Like I played receiver and safety, so I'm like taking good angles, making good cuts, stuff like that, right? It was all the technical shit.
Efficient.
Yeah, all the efficiency stuff. I was never super talented, but it was just like once I started laying film, I was like, yo, this is fun. And the more and more I got better at it and faster at it, two staging, because that's all I started doing. In the beginning, it was two stage. And so every time I'd get a car and I'm like, dude, I could hammer this out in like 45 minutes. And it was really good quality because I had this set list of how I'm doing it efficiently. Like you said, I'd cut out all these little steps that he'd tell me to do, and I'm like, I ain't doing that. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like I'm not gonna shrink it on the glass and then move it to the board and then take it from the board to the car. You know, I was like, I bet I don't have to shrink this window. And I started not shrinking. He walks in one day, he goes, did you shrink this window? I said, nope. He was like, why? I was like, because it fit perfect without it. And he's like, shrink every window. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And so, you know, working for somebody with that kind of mindset, coming to this stuff, I'm like, yo, why did I do that for so long? But going through all that for that long actually made me a better tinter because I'm like, now I know what not to do. I'm not mad that I didn't learn it earlier. It's just better that I know it now.
Yeah.
And now moving forward, dude, I will, every hatchback, like SUV, car, anything, I wet shrink and I pocket shrink it. Any sedan, dry shrink it. Some windshields I'll pocket shrink, wet shrink, but not many.
No.
Just a couple.
No, that's like, in my eyes, it makes sense why you're as good as you are when it comes down to it. How you learn, like being, even just having to apprentice for 3 years.
Right.
That was a long haul to have to be sitting in the dark, but being that good at prepping and cleaning,
Oh, yeah.
that
I was the shit. dude.
that's what defines an
Well, you
installer. in
need
my
to
I could
eyes.
prep a car in 3 minutes, like
Oh,
legit.
no, it's-
and then I'd just be sitting there waiting on him to install the film. I'm like, just sitting around. Like I could tint this car right now.
And in the defiancy, and the defiancy also too with, I'm not going to shrink this because it doesn't have to be shrunk. That is where, like, I shrink everything now just because it's like, I've gotten good at snap shrinking, so it's just like, shit, why not? I don't need it, but why not? I'm gonna be
Right.
lazy. I'm trying to be quick, whatever.
Right.
But beforehand, me and my auto manager, when we were like, shit, when he was like 18 and I was 16, like he would shrink things, and then I'd be like, "What? You don't need to
Why
do
are you
that."
shrinking that, dude?
Yeah, and then we
You're
would
so
come-
stupid.
We would,
Like, what are
we
you
would get
doing,
into it.
dummy?
We were young and dumb.
I bet I could do
and-
it better than you not shrinking it, bro.
Oh.
I bet I could two stage it better than you bottom load it.
Oh,
you know,
that
like
will-
stuff like that.
I was the only person in the
the
shop to
ego.
begin with
Yeah.
to be bottom loading because, I mean, I had the leeway. The fact that, and I did take advantage of it when it does come down to it, was if I scrapped a piece of film here and there, unfortunately, I'm the owner's son. Like,
Yeah.
I got chewed out for it, but like I knew I could push my boundaries a little bit further.
Right,
Like,
right.
you know, I didn't want to take advantage of it, but like I knew I could push my boundaries a little bit further.
Right.
And then also my dad telling me like, no, it needs to be shrunk. No, it doesn't.
No, it
And
does
it's
not.
oh, and I would do this
You
exact
said
same
need.
thing.
You said need. It's a want. You
Yeah.
want it to be shrunk. That's
Yep.
different.
Yep.
Big difference. I have that talk with my kids all the time. Like, no, you don't need to do this. You want to do it. There's a huge difference.
Yep.
It's like you need water. You don't need Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? It's like
You want the Kool-Aid.
right. You want the Kool-Aid because it tastes better. Because there's always reasons to why you want something.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
needs are just they have to be met.
Yeah.
You know.
What's crazy is that's like we were very slow in the past. Like even that's kind of how we learned. We definitely spent a long time. As just
Well, we were like,
preppers.
we were 9, 10 years old. Like, all you could do was that you would be a prepper. So we were a
Right.
prepper for a couple
Or,
years.
or the person standing on the ladder holding the pattern
yeah,
while it
yeah,
gets
while he
peeled.
peeled it.
Before
Yeah,
we
dude.
learned how to reverse roll.
Great shoulder exercise.
Dude, just getting a free shower every day,
Yep.
dude.
I've won 2
Wet
steins
shoes. Like
at Hofbrauhaus. Have you been to Hofbrauhaus in Vegas?
I don't know what that is. I've never been to
It's like
Vegas.
a giant pub.
Drive out to
That's
Vegas.
like
Not-
they've got one in Germany and one in Vegas. But throughout the night, while you're like at these long picnic benches, they've got music going, and then every now and then they'll have a contest for like women to go up and chug an entire stein full of beer, and the winner gets the stein. And then for the guys, it's who can hold a full beer out the longest.
Oh, dude, I'd lose so
I've-
fast. My shoulders suck.
I've won that twice.
Nice.
I think solely from growing up holding film over my
yeah,
head on
for
top of a
sure.
ladder.
And
like,
you were in the military, so you're like running around like this and shit.
it was before I even joined the
Oh,
military.
okay. I was about to say. 'cause
Yeah.
that's-
Well, the other technique with that though too is everyone always grabs the handle and grips the handle.
Oh yeah,
Stick your hand through, keep your hand open, let it rest in the crest.
yeah.
Get a
what-
trick for everything, dude.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember how I held it. I just know that. I
Oh,
was
that's how
like,
you held it.
It was right
clamping
before
with your
going to
hand,
basic
you're
training.
tensing your entire
so,
forearm.
So this is the hack, huh? He likes the hack stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, like I said, I cut everything I possibly could out of
yeah.
installing. Like I pride myself on being fast.
He
Like,
said if I could take water out of the situation, damn, I wouldn't have to fill up a
no,
tank.
that's the one thing. That's the one thing. While I'll have someone tell me like, "Oh, the guy who taught me like it told me if you have to use that much water, you don't know what you're talking about." I'm like,
That's
"Oh,
the opposite.
I'm
You're
like,
gonna
okay.
fry you're gonna fry their door panels. Oh my
even,
god.
even when it comes to like house windows, we had a guy that we hired that sat there and told me straight face, like the guy that trained me said that if you use that much water, you don't know what you're doing. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna try not to come off arrogant or cocky. I've won the world title twice, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
telling you, you do not use enough water. That's why you're getting contamination in your window,
I agree.
and why it's tacking. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick here. I'm trying to let you know this
Dude,
is
this
how
is
you need to improve it.
evidence, yeah.
Like, this keeps happening. I've told you about it, and I told you when I hired you. I don't care how you tint, but if something keeps happening, I'm gonna say, hey, why don't you try this?
Yeah, try it this way, man.
See how it feels. I'm not saying you gotta do it that way, but maybe by you trying it that way, it'll
You'll
make you
understand. yeah.
exactly.
You'll
exactly.
see it. It's
exactly.
like I get ragged on TikTok for how much water I use tinting
Oh, God.
doors.
Get outta here.
I will whenever I do my final squeegee, I go I mean, I soak the shit out of it, right?
Smart.
And I barely missed it, like at the top, because it's gonna kind of tack off a little better. If I'm two staging, whenever I pull my liner, like my bottom part, I'll pull the film out to like pull it off the
Yep.
glass. And
Rinse
I'll
it out.
squirt from the middle up and down, and then I'll go back like this and then like this, 2 times, like 2 passes. And somebody's like, dude, you're gonna fry their door panels doing that. And I'm like, am
Never
I really?
happened.
They have weep holes at the bottom, dude, for a reason. They're like, there's a gallon of water in this door panel right now. I'm like, no.
on the
Because what
floor.
happens if you just go like this, like you just lift it and you go, you might spray something off the door panel or off the sweep
Well-
into the film. And then you have a line where you have it just resting, right?
Yep.
And so that's why I go, because it's not like stuck to the glue yet. Even if there's contamination there,
Oh, yeah.
you can wash it away without touching it.
When I two stage, I always do that. Like,
Always.
that's been part of it forever.
You look on the floor, there's a puddle like
Well,
this
here's the
under
thing.
each door.
If you think about it, the inside of that door gets wet every time it rains.
Of
that,
course.
That window seal on the outside
Does not
isn't
help.
watertight.
Doesn't
That-
help.
That water gets into the door and goes out those holes
Yep.
in the bottom that are designed to drain water. Everything in that door is waterproof.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you
Sure,
want to
shit better
protect, you want to cover the circuitry and stuff, but the water that's actually going inside of the door,
Yeah.
like, you're fine. The switches, I'm a little bit more concerned about.
I mean, I wipe while it
Yeah,
gets
yeah,
wet.
yeah, exactly.
As long as you're not going,
Yeah,
you know, it should be fine.
exactly.
I
You get
wonder
like a
what
little
will
couple of
happen.
I wonder what happens if I throw this water all up in this damn door switch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different.
Yeah.
But people will be like, man, that door panel's wet. You just ruined their car. And I'm like, thanks, man. Appreciate it. And I'll just kind of move on. And then Wesley, my buddy, he'll be in the chat because he's always in there. He'll be like, hey, you'll be all right, buddy. You'll be okay. Don't worry
Hey,
about it.
it's engagement. They're helping more people see you too.
I try to keep them in there a little longer, but I have a very short fuse for arrogance or ignorance and stupidity and people that just like to poke and prod. And I'll be like, all right, man, let's mute this guy so I don't have to see his fucking comments.
Yeah. There's almost so much of that you can take when it comes down to it. It's like, all right, playful engagement, sure. And then when they start getting crazier and crazier, it's like, all right, I don't have time for this
Yeah,
shit.
get
Like,
'em outta here.
Yeah, no thank you. Like, I understand that. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need that negative bullshit around me.
I don't
when it
need
comes
it.
down to it.
Because I'm like, yo, dude, it's my life. I'm doing this because I want to enjoy this time. I'm not trying to argue with some
Yeah.
fucking idiot that doesn't even probably tint windows.
Yeah.
That knows nothing about it.
Don't you just squeegee it on, man?
Yeah.
This is where I get super controversial. Here's a good clip.
Oh, God.
That's the level where censorship should happen. It's
Right.
your channel. You're in control of the audience.
Right.
You want to like ban somebody or not?
You can.
You can. Like
Yeah.
that's where it should happen.
And then people get mad.
Yeah, but
That
like
you took control of your show.
Yeah.
And they're like, why would you not let me have freedom of speech? And it's like, well, you're abusing it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this
Just
is
being
your
negative,
private
man.
room.
Yeah.
Like you just came into my room. Like this
You're
is
being an asshole.
Yeah, I control this. You can go anywhere else on this entire platform.
Right.
But that's where it should happen. Is like
You choose to stay here and be negative and
Yeah.
be toxic, and I'm not
Yeah.
letting it happen.
You have your free speech to say what you want. I've got mine to say properly fuck right off.
Y'all swear to God.
Have a nice
dude.
day.
Yeah.
And I'm going to now keep doing what I'm doing and engaging
Right.
with people that are actually asking me questions that are
Right.
actually going to further either myself or I'm getting enjoyment from this.
Yep.
You're just trying to be a negative Nancy.
Right.
Try to get your jollies off by talking shit. I think I got time for that. Have
And
a nice day.
one of my other favorites is like somebody that comes in there that does tint windows. They're like, man, I'd be done by now. I'm like, oh, for real? You would? Hell yeah. Go finish one right now. Why are you on my fucking live if you could get one done right now?
Oh, I'll go to the point like I used to, and I still will say it for the most part. Maybe not so much for cars because I'm really not into heavy cars anymore. But
Right.
I still would probably be confident to say it though. Like we had a couple local shops when we had a guy in a local shop talking about how no one can tint faster than do a Corvette. I was like, I'll put my paycheck on it
Yeah.
because
Let's go. Line it
you
up.
know where my store's at. And like I'll even say the same thing like when it comes to like even now, like I'm that confident in my installing when it comes to a flat glass window or a car window, I'll go up against anybody.
Right.
Like let's go. Like,
I'd love to be wrong.
oh,
That's what I tell people. Like, I would love for you to beat me.
oh yeah.
Because then I'd go, you are better than me, man. Good job.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Shake my hand. What's up?
Shit, it happened twice
See you
today.
Well,
next
that's
time.
what's fun
Happened
about
to
the
me
vibe
all
here.
week. I've lost 3 damn things in the first round. I lost the fucking squeegee battles because of a triangle in the top corner, and I was going so fast, man. I have the video, and I was like, man, I was way faster than everybody, but I missed that one corner.
Yep.
And then the flat glass battles, Ferdinand beat me by 1 second. Like
Oh, that was
I
right
looked
there.
over and I went to go raise my hand, and they rang the bell, and I was like, fuck. And then lost to him because I creased it trying to do something that I don't normally do.
Yeah, that's how. But that's how.
That's how you get better.
That's how you get better, and that's how you act. That's how you win these events too. Like WFCT. The controversial thing is that you can't pull the rubbers when you do flat. At least for the flat glass install, you can't pull rubbers on the frame. When it's a commercial window, most commercial windows, almost all commercial windows, seals are being pulled on a regular job. I'm tinting it and putting it back because there's no gap, there's less dirt. I can get that job done more efficiently, more cleanly.
Right.
At WFCT, you have to leave those rubbers in and cut against them. It is the only time all year I tuck rubbers on a window. I
Yeah.
tuck my rubbers all the way around, throw it up, I tint, I cut it, squeegee out, and then I take a triangle card, and then I pop that rubber out, and it has to be done precisely.
Right.
If it pops and catches my tint,
You're fucked.
I'm done.
Yep.
I know I'm done. But I know
'Cause
if I pull
dirt's
it up.
going yeet, right up in there.
Oh, yeah.
You get one of those good old half moons.
The whole shape of the finger.
DQ.
Dude,
See
yeah.
ya.
Yep.
Looks like one of these just right up in there.
Yep. No, it's
But-
getting into those competitions and pushing yourself through those and doing things that you're not used to furthers you so much more.
Right.
And in tinting, it's crazy.
But you also have to have like that routine. So like you have your routine, but then you can like adjust it
Yep.
a little bit here. If you just completely change the way you do everything at one time, you're not gonna do
Yeah,
very good.
no.
You gotta do like one little thing at a time, and that's usually how tinters grow. Like they start off with this basic knowledge, and then they kind of get better and better and better and better. And then at some point, you're like, man, I can tint really fast and really efficiently. Now I just don't want to go that fast anymore. I'm just going to take my time and just have a good time tinting windows.
Yep.
Because once you know you're at that level, it doesn't matter anymore. You're like, cool, I know I can do that. What does it matter to you?
Yeah.
Probably nothing.
Yeah.
It matters nothing to me now.
Yeah.
But if you think you want to be better and like say that you could do it quicker, two-staging the bottom loading because you don't have to pull sweeps and you don't have any pinch marks and all this, it's like, cool, man. You want a cookie? Like, I don't care.
Yeah. I'm still gonna get
Give a
my job
shit.
done. My customers still gonna be happy. I'm
Yeah,
still
my
getting
customers
paid.
aren't yours, so what does it matter?
No, as long as the job gets complete, who cares?
Right.
Who cares when it comes down to it? I mean, the stupid little things that unfortunately that tenders do. Some of it's fun.
Usually it's the ego. That's what it is.
Oh yeah. All right.
always.
Red dot or OFA?
Red dot.
Oh, see, like I hate you.
All day.
Auto.
Red dot.
Mostly auto, right?
All auto, bro.
Yeah.
I love auto. Flag glass, I'm decent at. We just don't get a lot of flag glass. And I love auto because it's what I started on, and it's what I pride myself on because I did get to that point where I could two-stage a four-door car in like 45 minutes with shrinking on the outside of the windows.
Yep.
You know, because I had these steps that I was just so tuned into, And I wanted to get out of work so fast that I was like, I gotta get out of here as fast as I can, and as quickly and as efficiently as I can, right?
Yeah.
For one, because I didn't like the environment, so it's like I got to get out of here because I got to make this money, but I also don't want to be here very long.
Yeah. No, coming up with those processes, especially when you're a lone installer, like
Right.
to be able to 2-stage and stuff like that, like it's like for me it was prep the whole car, and then I would go door by door, stick my door, squeegee it out, dry out the top edge, move to the next door.
Yep.
Stick
You let
it-
it hang.
Oh yeah,
Dude, that's how I learned.
Absolutely.
Dude, I'd let it hang.
Why
I'd-
put a heat gun on it?
I'd run around
Skip a
it.
step.
I never put the heat gun.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would just run around it.
Yep.
That's how he taught me. And then I'd come back to the front door, tuck it real quick, slap the black glass. I'd
was
even
the
slap
only
the
way
back
we
glass on
did.
before I tucked them sometimes.
Oh shit.
Yeah, just because. Like I'm like, I think I can get away with this. We were using Johnson at the time, and it wasn't like the most aggressive, so it was still pretty wet.
Yeah,
you
I'd
know.
say for a bit.
Yeah, and so, man, that's so crazy. I didn't know many people did that.
Oh,
I haven't
that-
seen it in forever.
No, that's definitely one of the things. Like even when it came to bottom loading too, when I finally picked up bottom loading, because I tried bottom loading for like a good 5-month period.
Yeah.
And I just was trashing film.
Yeah.
So all right, fuck this, I'm done. I'm going back to what I know. I know I can 2-stage and it's gonna come out clean every single
Right.
time. I know it for a certainty. And then eventually, I think it was like maybe like 6 to 8 months later, I was like, all right, I'm gonna give this a try again. And I went and I tried it, and all of a sudden, like I don't know, just something finally clicked. Someone said, I forget, it was at SEMA. Someone had said something to me,
Right.
And like I saw one little thing, and I was like,
Wow.
I'm gonna try this again. And all of a sudden, I started doing it, and it started to get more and more successful.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing, well, everyone else was 2-staging in the shop. We were on commission hours at the time.
So you're like, I'm bottom loading, dude.
I was blowing through everybody.
Yeah.
I would get done well before anyone else.
You wanna hear a cool story? You know who taught me to bottom load?
Who?
Mike Norn.
No shit.
Tinter Battles 21.
Oh, really?
Yeah, somebody pulled a sweep on a Mercedes and I didn't know it, and I went to 2-stage it. And what's his name? Sean from Window Tint Warriors. Sean Roach.
Sean Roach.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, dude, what are you doing? I said, tint this window. He goes, the sweep's not in there. And I go, what does that mean? And then Mike walks up with a camera crew. He's like, I'm gonna teach you how to bottom load. And I was like, bet, do it.
That's
And I was like, I don't know what
awesome.
the fuck that is. I was like, I have no clue what the fuck that is. And then he showed me. I went back to the shop that I work at now, and I started just trying it over and over and remembering what Mike was telling me. Like, I really want that fucking video because I don't remember exactly what he was telling me, but he was talking to the camera, right? And I was just sitting there listening. There's a picture of me going like this, just watching him, like I used to back when I was learning. I was like, just staring at him. And ever since then, I've done both because, like, it's just situational for me. Like, privacy glass on trucks and SUVs, I'm 2-staging the fuck out of it. And then the front doors, I'm bottom loading. And people are like, dude, why'd you 2-stage that one and you bottom load the front? I'm like, it's privacy glass. For one, you're not gonna see anything if you have a little bitty micro crease in the corners.
Not seeing.
And then you don't have to take the time to take it apart. Some back doors suck to take off.
Yep.
And so I just like 2-staging it.
Yep.
But if it has, dirt in it and stuff, I'm taking it off, redoing it.
Yeah.
But most time it's just a little pinch mark.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
just hit it
yeah.
with a little bit of heat on the inside. Done.
Yep.
And they're not gonna see it.
Nope.
Unless their kid's like, "What's that, mom?" You like they start, and they're like, "I don't know."
Yeah, even that I don't think.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
And then you bottom load the front because it looks real clean.
Yep.
Especially like Rams, always.
Now hold on. So like new Rams, yes, but are you taking any Rams apart or no?
Okay, so I did get the B-load tool, and I'm starting to use those on Rams specifically because I hate trying to get the top of the door
Understandable.
back over the top.
Yeah.
And with those deep seals, the B-load helps it like slide in there, and then you can like fold it a little bit, but it doesn't like crease it or nothing. And you can push it way forward, pull that B-load tool over, and drop it straight down.
That-
You can take it out and then drop it down.
Tomorrow, I'm gonna throw a door on one of the cars. I want to show you how I bottom load. 'Cause I use easy reach.
I've seen people use like Mayo spreaders, shanks, all that kind of shit.
Yeah, no, I got used to using at first when I first started loading. Home Depot had these plastic spatulas that were 2 inches wide. They were red and they were like paper thin. So what I do is I throw a little heat on them. I'd put a slight bend on it. I used those forever until
Yeah,
I
yeah.
stopped selling them, and I was like, shit, what am I gonna do? Because all the corner cards at the time were way too thick.
Right.
And then I found the easy reach, and
Yeah.
I was like, all right, this is thin enough.
You have one that's like this?
Hey, that new thin
Yo, yeah,
I have one of
tri-edge.
those at the shop.
That new thin tri-edge looks like it'll be.
Oh yeah,
game
we talked
changer.
about that.
That's
with
why-
with the long. Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
That's
yeah.
why.
Need
That's
it.
the other reason why I want to
Need
throw a
it.
door in is I
Yeah,
want to
wanna
try.
try
I
it.
want to
Do
see
it.
how that thing goes because how thin
Got
that thing
to.
is, I guarantee that thing is going to be
Oh yeah, dude.
perfect.
That thing is nice. I'm using it for every Subaru quarter window, every Altima, all that
yes.
shit. Like how the top corners are always a bitch to
Yep.
to just put a tri-edge to get the film to go in. That thing's just gonna slide right in there. Because the easy reaches, they scratch like a motherfucker if you don't put Teflon on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, sand
That's
the
why I
piss out.
stopped using them.
Well, it's for me.
Literally stopped.
I only
Never use them anymore.
I when it comes to if I'm gonna make a pass on tint, I usually won't. The only time I do is it's not Tinterbell's WFCT, but like when I get there, when I open up my tool chest, I have like 4 or 5 of them, and they've all been perfectly sanded. They're sitting out of my box, and as soon as I use one for something, it gets thrown in the box.
Yeah.
I grab the next one.
Yeah.
And the same thing with OFAs too. I'll have like 5 or 6 OFAs, and I'll make one cut. I won't snap the blade. In my eyes, if I snap and I miss and it falls to the ground,
Oh yeah.
DQ, I'm done.
Yep.
So I'll make one cut, I'll toss the OFA. I'll pull another OFA out,
Nice.
I'll make a next cut, toss the OFA again.
Pretty smart.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking
I,
smart.
I mean, I had 3 on here earlier. I dropped one while competing, but yeah, during competition, like I always have extras. Like
I
Yeah.
have 4 on me right now. When it comes down to it, I got 4 on me right now. When it comes down to
Nice.
it, like
Love it.
it's even worse when it comes to the tin off. So unfortunately, I think we're at a point
That's
where
fine.
we gotta wrap this up. This went stupidly
It was
fast.
good, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
It always
we
does.
gotta get on. We gotta get on yours.
We'll
huh?
set that up for sure.
Definitely. looking
Let
forward to
everybody
that.
know where they can find it.
So the Dark Truth podcast on strictly Facebook Live right now. I'm trying to work on getting it a little bit more technologically advanced, but I do have some videos on YouTube. I haven't uploaded in like 2 months because it takes forever.
Yeah.
But the Dark Truth podcast on Facebook, just follow that, and I make an event almost every week. I actually didn't make an announcement that I wouldn't have a show this week, which is funny. But yeah,
Are you
Facebook.
What's your TikTok?
My TikTok is at ShadyJ2.
All right, man.
So
Hey,
it's
man.
just
Really appreciate it, man.
We appreciate it. Sit down, man. It's fun competing against you, man.
And this is our first podcast with a beard too.
hey, I have one. I have beards every podcast I do.
You know, that's the word. It's the word.
That's so appropriate.
Like, I was right when we sat down. I was like, dude, this is just like my show, man. This is awesome. I was like, I love this.
No, this is something where I kind of want. I want to be able to have like we're obviously going to have certain conversations with certain people where it's not. This won't happen, but there will be like there's certain industry people that we already see at events. That thankfully, you know, we got to meet you at this one.
Yeah.
I definitely we will be seeing you at other events.
Oh, for sure.
To be able to sit down, especially after competing and stuff, grab a beer, sit down,
Yeah,
and chat, have a
relax,
conversation.
dude.
This was very nice. I
Nice.
very much enjoyed this. I look forward to doing it again. If anything, I know they're not going to have necessarily a podcast studio set up at WCT.
They won't.
I'm going to look around for a studio, and if we can pull it off and do it and record another
yeah.
episode somewhere,
I'm down.
when we're back down here again, I definitely want to.
Dude, I'm down.
All right.
So down. All we have to do is drive over here, bro.
No, Dave already said he's probably going to do that. So.
All you have to do is drive over here, dude.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Well, we can't announce that for him, but he was saying that it's probably going to happen.
It maybe might happen.
Yeah.
All right.
It's
Well,
a
I'm gonna get Dave to.
possibility.
I'm gonna get Dave to say yes before this gets released anyway. So we'll be good. So hey, you guys know how this works. Follow, subscribe on all platforms. We appreciate all the love following along this journey. And until next time, guys, have a good one.
Later.
Hey, Shady.